What's up, everybody? Welcome back. Episode 16 of Insurance Isn't Boring. Love Fridays because Xander and I get to record this. I'm your host, Elijah Corujo, joined as always by the blonde, the beautiful. He's growing his stash out. I've been influencing him on the stash. Blue tongue, methylene blue all the way. And we're gonna get into some cool stuff today. But Xander, how you doing today, man? Welcome to the pod again. How's it going, brother?
Doing much better. I might be dead, man.
You'd be on the other side.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's a beautiful life we live, brother.
It is. What's the weather like in Charleston today, man?
See, it is 73. The sun is shining bright. I need to get to the beach this weekend.
I need to get to the golf course this weekend.
I need to do that too.
I called my local home course. Shout out Castle Bay in
Oh,
Hampstead. Easy
great course.
course, beautiful weather coming up this weekend, but in Wilmington, clear Carolina blue skies, 74 and sunny. Everything's covered in pollen though, so like my white car was yellow today. I had to go through the car wash. Are you getting hit with the pollen too?
Dude, my allergies are kicking up big time. They're kicking up my clients' allergies too, which is actually a good connection. I'm like, oh my gosh, the pollen's killing me as well. So I hear you there.
Yeah. If you're getting tired of talking about the weather to build rapport, start talking about something everybody hates, which is spring pollen and allergies, man. I had to go restock on some Claritin D this week because it was bad. I woke up at 4 a.m. this morning because I couldn't breathe out of my nose.
Holy cow.
Cotton mouth so bad. And yeah, but we're doing good now. We're doing really good now.
Yeah,
Um,
man. And you're especially doing good. This is gonna be, look, I don't want to jinx anything. If it isn't already, it's probably gonna be a record-breaking month for you.
I'm 1,000 APV away from breaking my personal best record. So for the month so far, a little bit of street cred. If you guys are wondering, like, why should we listen to these two white guys again? I mean, you shouldn't, but I'll share my numbers. So far for the month, I'm at 34 sales, 34 families protected, over $4 million in face amount, and annual premium is $54,753 on my own pen. Simplified issue mortgage protection. It's just been working the
You're making
system, man.
me you're making me
Working the
look like a
process.
schlub over here, bro. I'm at like I'm at 20, just under 22,000, 21,858 on
What
my
are you,
own
part
pen.
time, Xander?
I
I'm
don't
just
know, man.
kidding. I'm
20K,
kidding.
like, come on, man.
20K is phenomenal. Okay. If you're full time and you're doing less than 15, you're part time, but 20 grand is nothing to balk at. So that's awesome. But we'll get into that too, man. We're going to talk about a few things today. We don't have an overarching topic. We wanted to get into a little bit of mindset, a little bit of how to manufacture the week or the month that you want, how to overcome struggle, how to get out of your own way. I mean, a lot of times we're the biggest obstacle keeping us from getting the results that we want or the week that we want to have. What do you have for the week so far, man? How many families you helped? I know you helped a couple yesterday.
Yeah, I probably should have had my activity tracker up before we got on here. I have only helped four families this week. So not,
Okay.
I've had and honestly, I wanted to dig into this a little bit
Yeah.
because
Let's dig.
similar to you, I have really high production goals, but I've been on here, particularly since we had the Key Leader Academy, talking about building. And I, for whatever reason, had this notion that like I was going to be able to keep running at the same pace. I mean, 60 to 100,000 in a month is my goal, like on my own pen. And
It's a
thinking
big
that
goal.
training other people, bringing other new people on and getting them successful, that wouldn't affect, like splitting my time wouldn't affect my personal production at all. And as someone who's in the middle of that, I can tell you that that's not the case, unless you're Superman or Superwoman.
Or
But
Edward
it's,
Pritchett.
yeah, or
Who is
Edward.
Superman? Let's be
He,
real. Edward Pritchett is super.
um, but I just, we were talking before this, I was kind of reflecting last night on the week, and, this has been a recent development, but there's like 10 people basically 24/7 all in a Zoom room, Elijah and I are both in there. There's people on my team who aren't on our team. We're all in there having a good time. And a lot of families are getting helped. And that's what actually matters at the end of the day. And so taking a step back to be like, not only are the families getting helped, new people are seeing the opportunity that's available to them. Um, and then even just the whole thing is so cool. I love watching people win, and
Me
so I've
too.
had to adjust my expectations a little bit of like, okay, now there's some people who have gotten through that hurdle. Now I could maybe shift back to thinking about production a little bit more, although we still got new people coming in. So who knows?
Yeah. Dude, it's kind of like wearing two hats. You got at some times of the day, you got your builder's hat on and you're in training mentorship. Sometimes you're in therapist mode, sometimes talking people off the ledge who are having a rough day. I know that. And then you switch hats and then you're in I'm protecting families mode. And what a lot of people forget or maybe don't realize is personal production is like the job. It's the job you show up to, you can do it whenever you want, and you're going to get paid for your efforts, which is awesome. Building is the business. And if you're doing both simultaneously, it's kind of like burning a candle at both ends. You're working basically two full time jobs. And when you're working on one, you're not working on the other unless you have a team. And that's kind of the beautiful thing about building, brother, is because if you have a rough day or a rough week and you don't sell as many policies, but your team shows up, it's kind of like it all worked out. And that's I want to point that out because we've got some new people who have been plugging into our Zoom room, getting around the culture, getting associated with the right people who are going to kind of elevate their skill set, but also their mindset and what they expect from themselves. And there's been some new agents, man, who have come out the gate this week and written 3 or 4 policies, and it kind of helps balance it out when you may have a couple clients that don't sign or don't buy or get cold feet when you ask for the routing number. It's like, it all worked out anyways, and
Yeah.
that's the beauty of the system, man.
And
So
then they
four
see that, and then they can go do the same thing. That's bit like I gotta give a shout out. Wes in Georgia, they're new to the team. They actually found us through the podcast, which is awesome.
How sick is that?
That's like that. I can't even put it into words how cool that is. And Wes last night sat his first appointment ever. And there's two things that I love about that. Number one, he was able to help the family. So I haven't seen that yet. But number two, Bailey Paris, who we've talked about on here, he hasn't been here that long. I was in the Zoom with him until midnight last Friday. I was gone. I was helping my girlfriend get her tire changed, and he was able to help Wes get it submitted and get that family protected. And so it's like there's just so much winning going on. It's how could you not be in a good mood?
New agents helping new agents. It's a beautiful thing, man. And if you're in the insurance industry and you somehow stumbled across this podcast and you're with a company who is gatekeeping the keys to success, or they're hiding what they're doing, or they're unwilling to help you, I just want you to know that that company sucks. And Symmetry Financial Group is not like that, because me helping some new agent win and get what they want doesn't take anything away from me at all. If anything, it makes the opportunity better because we want newer people to come into this and get profitable ultra quick, because that just makes this opportunity that much more attractive, man. And seeing people do that just gets me jacked up, bro.
Dude,
I want to
same.
give a shout out too to somebody who's been listening to our podcast since day one, Elizabeth Tracy. Shout out to you. You're having an amazing week. We all go through ups and downs. Sales is like peaks and valleys. And sometimes the valley can be a little bit long, man. But you got to realize that fruit doesn't grow on the mountaintops, y'all. And so you have to go through the valley in order to get to those views and the peaks. And she's had a couple rough weeks, but she came out this week, made a couple changes with her lead flow, and she sold over 10 grand this week, and for the first time ever, which is awesome. So that's about to become a regular occurrence.
Yeah.
So
She's
super, super
issued
cool.
issued over 20,000 this month, and I just couldn't be happier for her. We've gone back and forth a lot. And she made the step into digital leads, and she's like, "Where have these been? Like, this is amazing." She's great with people. She has a heart for service. She's good friends with Nicole, who we had on last week.
Yeah, that
Um,
was a great episode, by the way, too, man. Really,
Dude,
really good one.
incredible episode. It's just I come back to how can you not be happy? We hang out with amazing people. We have a good time. Like we have fun and we get stuff done. That's one of the core values for a reason. It's true. And then everybody does well too. It's just like, how could you not be happy? I come back to that. Like, how could you
Yep.
not?
Yep. And I mean, that's one of the things that keeps me here, man, is like we're not just shooting the breeze and having a good time. Like we're making money too.
Yeah.
People
Yeah.
come to insurance for one of two reasons. They either need to make more income or they make a great income, but they want more time with their family and their loved ones. And the beautiful part about this business is you can get the best of both. Now, you have to sacrifice a little bit of both initially to get that. Like you're going to sacrifice some time on the front end to work and get after it. I mean, Bailey was in the Zoom room till midnight, not because he had to, but the dude's hungry. He's getting training. He's getting around people who are doing what he wants to do, and you got to invest a little bit of money to get going. I mean, at the end of the day, this is a business, and you gotta invest a little bit to get going. But for the week, real quick, my numbers: you help 4 families. I've written
50
week to
families.
date. No, not this week. I've helped 10 families, and I've written $16,100 in premium. Last week was a record week for me. Just shy. I was $100 shy. Literally one accidental policy would have put me over 24 grand. But number one in the company last week, or not number one, I'm sorry. I was number two in the company last week, and that felt pretty good. So
Should
just want
be.
to capitalize on the momentum, man, and keep rolling. Um,
Hey,
so
what's your lead order for anybody who wants to also turn around and do 23 grand?
Well, my lead order might scare some of y'all, because I'm investing a little over $6,000 a month in leads, so it's about just over 1,500 a week, in a mix of.
Elijah, that's more than my mortgage, brother.
Well, if you invest that, you could probably pay 2 mortgage payments in addition to all your other bills, man. But hey, it takes money to make money, and I invest in those resources because it helps me get my time back. I'm not spending 10 hours a week booking appointments. I invest in newer, fresher leads. I take a mixture of digital leads that are generated online. I take a mixture of some aged leads, slightly aged. Okay, I'm not talking like aged like milk. I'm talking aged like wine. Okay, they're like 2 weeks old. It'd be some cheap wine if it was 2 weeks old, and then some fresher analog leads. But I'm taking about 40 a week. That's what the mix is, man. And you're taking a little more than me, I think. About 50, right?
I'm taking 15, 15, 30. Yeah, I'm taking 50.
Okay,
So
that's a good amount.
I just changed mine. I was kind of I think we should maybe get into and before I do that, want to give one more shout out to Noah Dondero. Buddy has really come into his own and he's just cruising. He's he's incredible at this. Another person with a huge heart for service. Can't forget him. And I'm probably now that I'm saying names gonna forget someone, but
Shout out
so sorry.
Dondi,
Yeah, shout out Dondi. But yeah, I was doing CIs because that's what Jake was doing,
which
and
is a
I think
call-in lead for the people who
yeah,
don't know.
call-in leads. Look, call-in leads work. I wrote business on those this week. But you talked about 50% of people, the way the marketing's generated. Some of them don't remember sending it in. Some of them don't remember what it's for. They feel like they don't need it. Again, it's a numbers game. So when we look at investment wise, they're half or a third as expensive to invest in on the front end as the mail in analog leads, which have a higher close rate. So you got to sort through some more people who aren't going to turn into policies, right? If you know, as long as you know that, it's fine, right? Because you can still write business on them. But again, juggling a team and my own production, I added digital leads back into the mix about an hour ago because I just love the ability to text them and set appointments. It's usually fewer phone calls and they're still super high intent. So
I'll share a real quick story about digital leads and why I'm such a big fan of them. And I've been working digital leads for several years now. I actually got to help pilot this digital lead program through Symmetry. And I got a lead yesterday at about 1 or 2 in the afternoon. The lead dropped into my CRM and we started texting, got the appointment booked for the same day, just a few hours later. So I got the lead in the afternoon, booked him for 5 p.m. When I called the guy, his name was Trinity, super cool name. But got to talking with him. He was actually driving home from work and stopped at the hardware store while I was running the appointment with this guy over the phone. We were on the phone for 40 minutes and we helped him with mortgage protection. Literally signed the application from his phone while he was in the hardware store. And so I got the lead at like 1 or 2 in the afternoon. By 5:45, we had an application submitted, and the turnaround time, the quickness with when we get the lead, there's just this urgency because these people see an ad online, respond to it, and then you get that lead within minutes. The speed to lead is the name of the game if you're working digital. It's a little bit different with analog, and I like them all, man. I've made money on every single lead type Symmetry has, but the lead mix that I have right now, I'm investing more in leads than I ever have, and I'm selling a good amount. So I think it's working, man.
Pretty simple equation. And kind of getting back, because we were talking about this before, we were also talking about this before, is like the people that you surround yourself with is so important, right? Like me, if it weren't for you, the other, top there's people who hit 30K months in our agency, but I would be measuring myself against that bar, right? I feel like I doing 20 grand in a month, that suddenly feels like the bare minimum. Like if I was below 20,000, I'd be reevaluating everything.
You'd be
And
stressing.
yeah, but looking back, it's like I've said this before. If you would have told me a year and a half ago that I would be in a spot where 20 grand a month is like a bad month, I'd be like, when can I be that dude? Like that sounds awesome. And I think you're in a similar spot, right? Where like you're measuring yourself with a different yardstick. And so that has your goals a lot higher, and it means that you're doing a lot, right? And I just think that's so important to get around people who are going to bring out the best in you and push you to achieve everything that you actually can. And I don't think that's something that just happens by accident.
No, it definitely doesn't. And we were talking about this right before we hit record, but I think having a healthy relationship with comparison is a good idea because at the end of the day, comparison we say can be the thief of joy, right? Because you compare yourself to somebody who's doing way better than you, and then you get down on yourself and you're like, I'm not doing enough. Or it can be the opposite effect where you compare yourself to somebody that you're doing way better than, and then you get really prideful. And we all know, if you read the Bible, pride goes before a fall, and haughtiness before destruction. However, pride can be the thief of joy or the fuel to change. If you're comparing yourself to somebody like Xander, you're my running buddy. We're running together. Some weeks I run faster than you. Some weeks you run faster than me. You're building, and I'm comparing myself to you in that regard of what I need to do. I'm taking notes, dude. You're building a phenomenal culture. Okay, like what you're building it's amazing. It gives me chill bumps when I think about the impact that we're making on young people who are joining our team and just getting excited about it. But somebody told me early on, like when we talk about association, man, who you surround yourself with is a pretty good indicator of where you're going to be. You know, if you're hanging out with four broke people, you're going to be the fifth, man. And if you're hanging out with people who are getting after it, they're getting the results that you want. They're building healthy relationships. They're in a good place mentally and spiritually and financially. Those are the types of people that you want to be around because it's like change by osmosis. You just being around those people is going to have a positive impact. And so it's one of the reasons why we do this podcast, man, is just to give people a little bit of a viewpoint of a day in the life or a week in the life of an insurance agent and share what we're doing and what's working for us so that people can go apply it. And that's one of the reasons why we don't really script this. We just kind of talk about what we're doing and every now and then we'll have a topic or a guest, but association is huge and it's honestly it's one of our four cornerstones, man.
Yeah.
Association is massive.
And so anyone listening, if you're out there and you're like, I feel like I'm crazy because I want more out of life. No, because I think it takes somebody with an open mind to get into this industry, right? Like we all know, unfortunately, a few bad apples can make us all look bad. And I find out about the bad apples when I call clients up and we go over what they already have, and they're like, "Wait, they told me this was a full mortgage payoff, and I've got 6 months of mortgage payments." Lost me a sale earlier this week. The guy was so fed up with the agent who had helped him previously and how he had lied to him that he was like, I don't want anything to do with insurance," which is such a shame. Um, there is that stigma. And I think Symmetry does a really good job of, they've created a culture where like anybody who operates in that manner, you're not going to last here because there's no one else like you. Um, but if you're one of those people and you're out there and you're like, I feel like want more out of life, and you feel crazy, you have found your tribe, because that is all of us here, right? Like, I came from the traditional 9 to 5 space. You came straight out of college, so you haven't even had to deal with the corporate woes.
I knew a 9 to 5 wasn't for me, man, when I was like 15 or 16. I knew from an early age. And the reason I knew that, man, is I saw a lot of people and I saw my parents come home from work every day stressed, tired, exhausted, complaining about their job. And it's like, that's the norm. And I didn't want to go to school for 4 years just to go get a job that's gonna barely pay me enough to be satisfied, that I don't enjoy what I'm doing. And that's why I've always wanted to be an entrepreneur. And insurance was just the vehicle and the avenue that taught me how to do it. And sales is one of the highest income earning fields that you could be in. And the insurance industry in particular, the financial services space creates more millionaires every year than any other industry. And Symmetry was published in a Forbes article a couple months back. We're in the top 15 highest earning companies that you can work with, which is pretty sick, all for the price of an insurance license. So we're in the right place, man.
That's the other thing, is like, it depends how you want to look at it. But the fact that you can come here, we don't have anything to sell you. We have nothing to sell. Well, unless you're a client looking for mortgage protection. But
We'll sell you.
as far as, like, think about all the gurus who are like, hey, give me 10 grand. I'll teach you how to do what I do. We'll teach you for free. All you got to do, it costs you nothing to join Symmetry. All you got to do is go get a license. And the price for that is a licensing course, and then the price that the state charges for the exam. That's
Yep.
it.
And you'll have to pay that no matter what insurance company you go work for, whether it's State Farm, Allstate, Colonial Penn, Family First Life, Primerica. Any insurance company is going to require you to have a license because you got to be legal. This is a highly regulated industry. We're not just like hawking shampoo and lotion. Like it's an actual business, and you got to be legal. And so that's the only buy-in fee. We don't have like an initiation fee. I'm gonna name drop a company here. WFG. I'm not going to spell it out, but if you know what WFG is, they're a company that will literally charge you to join their company. They make money off of recruiting people, whether or not that person makes a sale and makes money. You have to pay to join, which is outrageous.
Their commission rate is also lower.
Yeah,
I don't believe,
25%.
yeah, I do so anyone hearing this, if you work for WFG, the water's a lot better over here at Symmetry. We start everybody at an 80%. And if I recall correctly, they do not have a leads program either. So you're, beating the bushes for your warm market, reaching out to third-party lead vendors who you're going to have to vet them yourselves. That can be an expensive process. I just, when we had Edward on, he's like, I don't think there's such thing as a perfect company, which he's probably right about, but Symmetry comes pretty darn close. Like, there's nothing I can point at to be like, they're really falling short here. It's like they're constantly working on making things better and making our lives easier. And I think part of that is because the people who founded it and a lot of the people who work in the corporate office are agents and agency owners themselves. And so they relate a lot to the problems that we're going through, and it's to their own benefit as well to make things easier for us, because then we can help more families. And again, that's
Yep.
what it all comes down to.
You got it, man. It's a company built by agents for agents. And every change that this company implements is done with the agent in mind to either save us time or energy or money and make our jobs and our lives easier. And so, one of the things I love about it, man, I'll tell you this real quick and then we can shift gears. But if you're with an IMO or a company that does not have leads and you're killing it, I'm going to tell you right now, if you can make it in an environment like that, you are going to blow the doors off this thing. Because if you're resourceful enough to go figure out how to make money in insurance without leads, this is going to be a cakewalk for you. A
Yeah.
cakewalk.
Dude,
Uh,
Gandhi just hired one of his friends from high school who was in solar. And you asked him, you're like, so what, they just drop you off in a neighborhood and are like, good luck? And he was, yeah, basically. And so, And then he sees us running our appointments. He's like, that's
That's
it?
it?
Where where the heck has this been? And so I retweet, double click, whatever you want to say on that, because yeah, if you can hack it in a true cold calling, zero lead space, the stuff you'll do here, like,
Yeah.
I can't
We need
even
to go
begin to
hire
talk
more
about it.
solar bros. If you're in solar, dude, I love that. I think it's awesome. When I buy a house, go stop by my house. I'll buy from you. But um if you can make it in that, this is going to be so much easier.
Yeah.
And you're not going to be getting yelled at and getting the cops called on you for soliciting. We got leads. We got leads. We got people asking to buy what we're selling. And so it makes our job so much easier. Now, you do need to work on your sales skills. And that's why we have training and coaching and all that kind of stuff just to help you get good at your craft, because nobody wants to come into this business and be mediocre. If anybody hasn't told you yet, we've reached our quota in America for mediocre people. We're looking for people who they want something more. They want to be excellent in their field and their craft. And so that's what we're doing. And to this day, bro, I still work on training and getting better because I'm not satisfied. We were talking about who we compare ourselves to. Our good friend and buddy Jake Van Dusen. I don't know how this man does it, bro, but he's on a flight right now going to Washington to go play 36 holes of golf. You lucky bastard. Sold 23,000 this week in 4 days, like
Dude,
clockwork.
he literally, it's like he could do it in his sleep. Brother
He
watches
does.
movies. Well, he watches movies. Well, I think he ran out of movies to watch, so now he's watching like golf. But like he watches movies while he's setting his appointments. It is that effortless to him. Now people hear that and they're like, "Oh, insurance must be so easy." It's like, well, no, no, no. He put in the legwork to get to a point where it's just he doesn't even have to think about it.
Yep.
Um,
He's good.
and he's really good. He's really good. Although he's so humble. I don't think he would
He'll
come
never
out
brag
and
on himself. That's why we got to do it for him.
ex took the words out of my mouth.
He's a humble gangster, is what he is. So, Xander, for the people out there who are maybe having a rough week, okay, we've all been there. We've gotten our butt kicked where we've spent money on leads, we booked a bunch of appointments, we got no showed. Maybe you had some policies declined. Maybe you wrote some business and it got approved, and then the client called and canceled for whatever reason. That can be super demoralizing. And it could affect the energy that you bring into the next appointment and your next week. I'm sure you have a lot of conversations with new agents who are going through some stuff. How do you counsel somebody through that? Or maybe better phrasing is like, how do you help somebody pull themselves out of the pit of despair?
I remind him that life is good and that it's not supposed to be easy. I think it was Alex Hormozy. I gave this analogy to someone earlier. He talked about he was the fraternity president when he was at Vanderbilt, and they were a good fraternity. Whatever, I don't care what you think about Greek life. The analogy still holds. And they were going through Hell Week or whatever, like when it was supposed to be hard, and there's all these guys who were thinking about dropping out, and he just took them to the side and he was like, "This is what hard feels like. You wanted to be a part of, this type of organization. Yeah, we have high standards for the people who are here." And so I remind people that if it were just easy, number one, wouldn't get paid what we get paid. And number two, everybody would do it. And those kind of go hand in hand. Um, and so remember that there's a friendly client who wants to just talk to you on the phone forever. They're going to be your best friend on the other side of the next phone call or the phone call after that. And it's so easy, kind of coming back to Jake, it's so easy to have a bad day or a bad week and be like, man, I suck at this. I forgot how to do this. You're measuring yourself on the wrong time frame. And so look, I have to take my own advice sometimes. I have bad days. I had a bad week this week. I felt like I did not write as much as I should have. Again, it was really cool to see my team win, but I have high personal production standards for myself. But then I look back on the month and I'm like, I mean, 20K on the month, that's like not, I
It's
want to
not
do
bad.
more than that, but that's not bad, right? And so look at a longer time frame. Remember, life is good. Go touch grass and get around people who are winning because you'll be able to draft off of that energy.
Yeah, I totally agree. You took the words out of my mouth. I was gonna say having taking a moment to take a step back and actually get a good perspective is oftentimes the difference maker, because you can get hyper focused on one day or one week and being like, man, stuff's not working. I'm getting my butt kicked. And then to get some perspective, you look at your month or you look at your quarter and it's like, it's not a big deal. It was an off week for some reason. And I think that's really, really healthy, because no business, and we talked about this before on a previous episode, no business measures themselves on a weekly or even a monthly basis, y'all. Like, they look at quarters, and you can get in your own way by looking at a week or a day or a month and then judging yourself and being like, man, I'm doing something horribly wrong. Maybe you are. Okay. That's why we get coaching and training to fix the hole in your swing, because a lot of newer agents, they're not doing it all right, which is why they're not top and elite producers just yet. However, just because you have a bad day or a bad week doesn't mean that this isn't for you. It doesn't mean that you're doing something drastically wrong. It's oftentimes a couple small shifts, whether it's your schedule or your leads or your scripting or how you explain it to clients, that makes the difference maker. That was the difference maker for Dondi. I had a conversation with him and we figured out how he was running his appointments and how he was explaining options. And it was just a little bit, I don't know if it was complicated or what, but he took some notes on the way I do it. Dude wrote 4 apps the next day. And so
The next day.
sometimes the next day.
The
And
next day.
sometimes it's just a small tweak that makes all the difference, man. I love making the illustration. I got some golf clubs behind me, but to golf, a lot of times if you're swinging bad or you're shanking it or you're slicing it or you're freaking duffing it, hitting the ground first, a lot of times it's a simple change like your grip or your stance, or maybe your clubs are too short for you and you need to go get fitted. Maybe you should leave the range balls at the range and go use real golf balls on the course. But it's a small shift that can make a big difference in what you're doing. So love that advice for people who are struggling. Um, Touching grass is huge too, man. Going on a walk, going to the gym, taking a break, reminding yourself, hey, man, life's good, because it is.
It
And
is.
this,
You got your health. You got you're living. Like there's so many people. Chronic illness is a big problem in the United States. I think it's 60% of adults live with a chronic illness. Now, we can get into the reasons for that. I think we'll leave that for maybe a different show. Um, there's a lot of people living sick every day. And I was reminded, right? We had conference, so we had a week off the first week. And then someone brought Ebola or AIDS or something to that conference. And I was down for the count. I tried to work through it. That was probably a mistake. I felt terrible the second week of March. And I hadn't been sick in a while. And I was like, man, this sucks. Um, and it reminded me of like, dude, you're healthy most of the time. Like, if you can't be grateful for that, then you're gonna have a really hard time being grateful for all the other incredible things in your life. Um, and so take that step back. I was looking at my numbers for the year so far, because again, I have really high goals for this year, and it's like, okay, so far this year I've written over 80,000. All of last year I wrote 190, and we're only 3 months into the year. So it's like, hey Xander, relax. Like, we're getting there, right? We're making progress. And so again, yeah, take a step back, be appreciative. Life's good.
optimism is, I think, the secret weapon of an insurance agent.
They did the study. I think we talked about it. They did a study.
Mhm,
Optimism is the number one trait of a high performer in the insurance industry. Optimism.
mhm.
And guess what? You control that.
Yep.
You
There,
control if you're excited and you think the next door, there's going to be something good behind it.
there's a little cartoon picture that you were showing us earlier, where there's a picture of two guys and they each have a pickaxe. They're each in a tunnel and they're mining the diamonds, right? And one guy, he's facing the other way. He mined a certain distance and then he turned around. He's like, I give up. There's no diamonds here. And the other guy's facing the opposite way, and he's like one hit with his pickaxe away from hitting diamonds. And a lot of people will get cynical. They'll have a bad day, bad week. They forget about gratitude and optimism and they quit early. Like, when I came into this business, I was just so driven and motivated to make this work that my mantra for myself was fail early, fail often, fail forward. And you're going to have moments where it's like, dude, do I keep doing this? Like, how much further do I got to go? And a lot of people fail out of this business because they quit right before the breakthrough happens, man. And so optimism's huge. You got to be resilient, you got to be consistent, and I think that's the trifecta of the characteristics that you have to have and you have to develop as you progress in your career too.
But that's really entrepreneurship in a nutshell, is like you keep working your tail off for to get to a destination that you don't know where it is or when you're going to hit it. And like
Mhm.
that is why entrepreneurs get compensated in dollars more than anyone else, because the vast majority of people are like, yeah, I'm not doing that.
Mhm. What got you where you're at is not going to get you where you want to go. And you have to make changes, you have to be adaptable, but more than anything, you have to develop yourself, man. I don't know any successful entrepreneur who doesn't prioritize personal development. And if you're not growing, you're dying. You know, you got to water the tree if you want to get some fruit out of it. And this is the same thing. No matter what industry you're in, man. No matter what form of entrepreneurship, it's going to take optimism. It's going to take consistency, and it's going to take discipline and determination to stick with it and get after it.
If
Um,
you've been wanting to make that leap into entrepreneurship, I can't think of a much better place to do it. I have so much respect for the people who go out there, find a product that people actually need, and then build it, and then market it, and then sell it, and build an entire organization. The thing I love so much about insurance and Symmetry more specifically is it is a business in a box. I didn't come up with insurance, it's been around for centuries. I don't do any of the marketing. Symmetry handles that for me. I don't have to do any of the back office stuff as far as getting contracts sent out and going back and forth with carriers. All I have to focus on is it's real simple income producing activities, setting appointments, running appointments, and sharing the opportunity with new people. That is it. Yeah,
mhm.
there's some stuff that you got to put in place to scale, some standard operating procedures. But at the end of the day, like you can I'm kind of getting to a point now where like I'm being forced to do that because I've been flying by the seat of my pants with my college buddies for up until this point. And so we could all kind of just be like, oh shoot, okay, we need to do that. And now it's like it needs to be a little more standardized or it's not going to scale. Um, but I didn't have to do any of that stuff. I can focus on just the things that help families and help new agents.
Dude, what we have is a system and you just come in and plug and play. Whether you want to do this part-time or full-time, we've got single moms here who just want to do this part-time and make an extra $1,000 a month. If that's you, you could crush it here. We've got people who are making two, three, 400 or $1,000 a year and they're looking to replace that income. There's a place for you here too. There's people doing that. There's multiple people that I know who are making over $1 million a year in this business with no prior insurance experience, and they just followed the system. And it's like we're paving a trail, and the more people who walk across the trail, the wider the path gets, the easier it is to traverse. And that's what we're doing. Like, we're not bushwhacking through the jungle in uncharted territory. It's a path that's been paved and tons of people have walked it. But here's the deal, no one's going to do it for you.
Yep.
This isn't a get rich quick scheme. This is a get rich slow business, and you have to do it for yourself. And so if you're lazy, entrepreneurship is not the field for you. I don't think you should get into it. Probably should get into like cryptocurrency or day trading. Maybe I don't think you need to be super hardworking
And sell a
to
course
make
on it.
make it work. Yeah, and then sell a course. Um, Sell a course on how to training people on how to sell a course. It's like a
Yes.
it's like a
That's the
pyramid
infinite
scheme
money
within a
glitch.
pyramid scheme.
Yeah.
Oh man, those guys always get me going on social media. Do you want to make $20,000 a week like me? Just spend $39.99 on my course and I'll show you how to sell a course. Yeah, don't buy that crap, y'all. We're not selling you a course unless it's an Excel Solutions licensing course. We'll get you a discount code for that. Um, but with that, man, I mean, anything else you think we should add?
I was trying to think. I mean, we hit on a lot. So I think to anybody who is again, anyone who's listening, like, remember that life is good. Remember that, if you want that time and money freedom, it's probably going to take a little bit of time and money to get there, and to just have a little bit of grace with yourself. Because it can be, again, measuring yourself against others can be really helpful if you're looking at it from the right perspective. It can also hurt you if you're looking at it from the wrong perspective. And so remember, everybody's going at their own pace. They're at their own spot in this journey. And if you just keep in mind that life is good, like, you'll figure it
Hmm.
out.
I'll end it with this. The only way to fail is to quit. And so if you're joining this business, just remove plan B. Like this is plan A, and stick with this. If you start a business or jump into entrepreneurship and you're like, oh, I'm gonna dip my toe in this, and if it works, great. If not, I could always go back to my job. You're gonna fail.
You already failed.
You already failed. Because as soon as you have one bad day or one bad week, you're like that first guy with the pickaxe who turned around too early before he hit gold. And so, not having a backup plan when you're betting on yourself, I think, is the best thing you can do as an entrepreneur. Um, and so, with that, appreciate you all tuning in. Share the show, comment on the show, let us know what you want us to talk about. One of the topics that we're going to get into on a future episode, we're going to get a little tactical with the sales and how to overcome objections when you're booking appointments and running appointments. We want to get into that. We got to do a little bit more prep for that one, I feel
Yeah.
like, though, Xander.
Yeah, I think we should talk to agents from all levels, like brand new, been around here for a while.
Yeah.
Maybe Jake isn't the best person to talk to for that because he's so silky smooth. I don't know if he even gets objections. Um,
No, he
but
gives his clients objections and he gives his clients to think about it.
he does. He's like, we got to talk to the carrier first. But yeah, love that. And yeah, like Elijah said, leave us a comment. We read them all. And I think we'll end on that. Wish everybody a wonderful weekend, and we'll see you back on here next week.
See you next Friday for episode 17. Peace.
Peace.